Caterpillar is one of the only equipment manufacturers that represents the largest range of product. So in late 2026, 2027, Caterpillar will literally have stand-on, ride-on skid steers all the way through hydraulic rope shovels, drag lines, the quarry trucks, the mining trucks. But what's most exciting is now our customers will have the ability to have a provider for all their equipment, from the smallest piece to potentially their largest piece, be sold, serviced, and taken care of by Western States Cat.
I'm Tyler Simmons. Welcome to In the Yard, a Western States podcast, where we dig into the heavy equipment industry, from the machines that move mountains to the people who put them to work. Let's explore how the world of yellow iron builds our communities for a better tomorrow. Brennan, thank you for joining me on In the Yard today. I'm excited to have you, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today about all the cool new Cat machines that are coming out.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. So before we get going here, let's give the crowd or the audience here a quick introduction of who you are and kind of your background and what your role at Western States is.
Okay, right on. So Brennan Gruhn, GM of Sales here at Western States, and I basically manage, help lead all the sales folks for the construction industries group. Basically everything but mining, power, all the yellow iron that you see on construction sites, except for mining. Before that, spent some time at Caterpillar in the engine group, as well as the old GCI group, as they used to call it, working on the machine side. And I came to Western States about 4 years ago. So that's kind of my short version of my story.
There you go. And you were an engineer at Caterpillar. Your original path at Caterpillar was an engineer, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I got an engineering degree when I was in school, but quickly when I got out of school, I realized engineering was not what I wanted to do full time.
Yeah.
So I got to Caterpillar and started doing marketing and sales, and eventually made my way to Western States.
Yeah, I think it's really cool just to kind of talk about that, because as career progressions and career paths, you just never know what it's going to be, right? You go into something thinking, hey, I'm going to be an engineer, this is what I'm going to do, and then you get somewhere and it's completely different, and you end up on a completely different journey.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I look back when I was a kid, grew up on a farm in Iowa, my family ran a certain color of tractors that's the color of grass, and so I probably would have thought I would have ended up there and not at the yellow tractor manufacturer Caterpillar. But certainly my journey's been unique. There's been some great timing, but certainly some great people that have helped lead me to where I'm at. So
there you go. I think I met one of those last week when I was in Peoria. Her name was Nikki.
Oh, yeah. Nikki Lane was my first supervisor when I got to CAT, when I was going through the marketing training class, and we had a lot of fun. The marketing training class is about half college grads, about half mid-career hires, and as you can imagine, managing 20 recently graduated college kids through corporate, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
And I heard breakfast was always interesting for you, because you got breakfast one time and they were just trying to feed you some pastries and you asked where the bacon was.
Yeah, I did get, not in trouble, but I got asked why my breakfast expenses were almost triple everyone else's. Just good old farm kid, I like to eat.
Hey, I can relate to that. I like to eat too.
You
So I
sure
think
can.
I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
totally understand. Well, cool, man. I think it's kind of cool just to think about your career progression. And I think the conversation we're going to have here in a minute and kind of work through some of the new Cat stuff that came out at CONEXPO, because there's a lot happening in the Cat machine world and those types of things. And I think your history, and then also additionally your time at Cat, positions us to have a great conversation here of what's going on in the world of Caterpillar heavy equipment and what that is. So thank you so much for taking a minute.
I hope so. I mean, it's CONEXPO is one of the pinnacle events every 3 years, right? And for the folks that don't know, CONEXPO is where all the OEMs and manufacturers have a chance to show off the latest and greatest and all just the cool new stuff, right? All the new widgets, all the new machines. And CONEXPO is just a great event, because there's the product, but then there's the people side. And it's honestly a homecoming for a lot of people and a lot of customers. And I think that's what I enjoy every 3 years with CONEXPO, is seeing people I haven't seen in 3 years, 5, 10, 15 years, the customer interactions, and then certainly all the new product that's coming to market.
Yeah, it is a great event, and it was massive this year. There was tons of people there, and Caterpillar had 3 different booths rolling. It was a great thing happening there. So
four technically, I think.
Technically, yes,
but
that's true.
One of the days made the mistake out at the festival grounds, is like, hey, I'm going to go to North Hall, the West Hall, and I think I put in close to 20,000 steps every day I was there for 3 days, so my
Oh,
feet were sore.
yes, I can relate to that. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the machines Cat released at CONEXPO and maybe some of the cool new things that are coming to market.
Yeah, so just a couple that really excited me, and in no particular order, and I know I'm leaving probably a few out, but just to get the one right out of the gate, the new track utility loader, the TUL 100. That's a product that Caterpillar hasn't had before, right? We sell skid steers, we sell mini excavators, and so we have a lot of landscapers where we take care of 80% of their equipment needs, but we don't take care of that remaining 10 or 20%. So when Cat brought out the TUL 100, the stand-on, ride-on skid steer, we're excited for that product because we think there's an untapped market, certainly for a lot of our current customers as well as future customers, that they want us to provide all their equipment across their product line. And right now we can't service that piece of their fleet. So I'm excited for that. I think it'd just be fun to buy one myself personally. I mean, who wouldn't want a stand-on skid steer or ride-on skid steer? That would just be a ton of fun. But Cat's going to be bringing that to market later this year. The list of attachments that they're bringing out of the gate's exciting. It's going to cover a lot of the core product that our customers need. But what's most exciting is now our customers will have the ability to have a provider for all their equipment from the smallest piece to potentially their largest piece be sold, serviced, and taken care of by Western States Cat. And that's what I'm looking forward to with that product.
Yeah, and talk about an interesting like product line that is anyways, when you look at like some of the other manufacturers and what they're doing. 10 years ago, the stand-on skid steer didn't exist really, right? It was not really in the marketplace, right? But when you talk about like the evolution of heavy equipment and how it's used in different landscaping businesses in different industries, it's crazy how all of a sudden there's a whole new little thing that pops up just to service a need. And that's a great example of it.
Yeah, and I think to double click into what you just said, Caterpillar is one of the only equipment manufacturers that represents the largest range of product. So in late 2026, 2027, Caterpillar will literally have stand-on, ride-on skid steers all the way through hydraulic rope shovels, drag lines, the quarry trucks, the mining trucks. I mean, the product line is expansive, and it's cool to see Cat catering to the smallest of small machines to the biggest of biggest.
Even when you layer in the power system side of the world and P&E, what's going on there too.
Yep, absolutely.
Which is a crazy business model too. What's going on, especially with all the data centers and stuff that are happening, and just the massive product line that Cat's got going on. It's insane.
Absolutely.
Cool. What else came out there that caught your attention?
Well, the other piece that I was really excited to see that Cat came out with was the 319 excavator. It's not necessarily new with all these new fancy features, but it's filling a gap in the product line that we felt was getting underrepresented. So it's a reduced radius excavator. So we're seeing a lot more growth in that space as customers look to work in more confined space, less greenfield, wide open field to run where you can run a 352, a 340. We're starting to do more work like in downtown Boise here. You can't run a full radius machine. You've got to get in tighter. But those projects and that type of work is getting bigger. And so you need a little bit more horsepower and a little bit more mass in the back to be able to pull bigger trench boxes and do more work. So the 319, it's coming with all the ease of use features, payload standard, 2D dig assist. We're going to be ordering them 3D ready. So when you want to upgrade that machine to full 3D, you can do it simply with an SCA unlock and then partnering with our worksite solutions team to get it going. But that 319 is really going to fill a void that we weren't performing well in. So that's another excavator that's going to be in our portfolio to sell, and we'll have the option from a attachment standpoint to scale down if a customer already has small buckets, or scale up to that 320 size class. So that's going to be an exciting product for us as well.
Nice. And what machines does that kind of sit in between, right? Because and maybe I'm trying to wrap this around in my head, is we have like the 317 and then we have the 323, right? Or
yeah.
Is it right in there?
So imagine a reduced radius machine between the 315 and the 325. That's where that 319 is going to live.
Okay. So it's kind of right there in a tonnage size and horsepower rating.
And the big part too is, and I'm not familiar with all of our transport laws and everything that you can and can't do, depending on the scales are open, but it's going to fit a niche from a transportation standpoint that doesn't require you to do that next level, go into a triaxle trailer. There's some regions where they're still going to be able to pull it behind a dump truck with a 3-axle pintle hitch trailer. Just kind of depends where you're at, what you can and can't do. But for some customers, it will be that fine line of the biggest excavator I can haul behind a dump truck.
And it's kind of cool to think about Cat, you know, just all the different things that has to happen. And for Cat to position a new excavator in market and take into account how to transport it and get it around, I mean, that's crazy to think about, because that's something we just kind of take for granted in our world. It's like, we're just going to get it and haul it and move it. But if they're, you know, thinking through of literally how the customer is going to transport it and get it to and from the job.
Certainly, I don't know if that was their main mission, but that is one of the net results of the new model. One of the other new products that Cat brought to market is their next-gen motor graders. So we sell a lot of motor graders here at Western States, and the advancements and the updates that they've made to this machine, I'm excited for, because not that they fixed like major problems, but just taking a great platform and elevating it to even more great is what we're looking for. And one of the things that I'm even more excited about is the new high-performance circle. So basically, the old days of shimming and constantly maintaining a circle are going to be gone, because Cat took the center section of an excavator, the bearing, and essentially slapped it into the motor grader circle. So way less maintenance. You don't got to worry about it as much. You can go out and run it. That's going to be huge from an operating cost standpoint. The other part too is now these motor graders we can order from the factory fully integrated or 3D ready. So let's say you need a blade, but you're not ready to make that jump into full 3D. We have it set up for you. And then when you're ready, we light it up, get a radio, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
That's definitely another added feature, is the visibility and the safety piece. Those motor graders are going to be awesome. We're excited for them.
Yep. And again, too, I think that performance circle, is that what they're calling it? Is what it is?
HPC, I think.
Yeah, that high performance circle, I'm super stoked about, because from the technology world, we often chase accuracy issues on motor graders. And when we get out there and we see a guy's cutting and in the 3D grade world, you know, if you're off a couple tenths, it's a big deal, right? And we get out there and you pick the motor grader up and everything moves before the blade moves, there's a problem. Anything else really at CONEXPO that was new and released that caught your eye?
The other item, I've kind of known about this for a little bit, because Western States sits on, we get access to some stuff early, but Cat launched the D8 XE officially at CONEXPO, and the D8 XE is, you know, the D8's been around for a long time, right? The XE nomenclature is the electrification piece that we see on the D6 XE that's been around, 7 years now?
Yeah. Or plus.
But essentially what they're doing is changing up your traditional powertrain option with gears and transmissions and torque converters, and we're going to a generator with an inverter and a motor. And so we're decoupling the final drives from the engine. We're able to increase efficiency, and I don't know the numbers off my top of the head. I should, but the net result is you're going to be able to push more material more efficiently with less fuel burned. You're actually increasing the nimbleness of the tractor as well. But that tractor's been in development for a while. Cat's been testing it, and I think that's going to be a great tool for those D8 size applications where production and productivity and moving a ton of material is the absolute most important thing.
Yeah, and cool. I mean, that platform and that D8, the high track dozer, it's been out for a long time, and to see Caterpillar to continue to innovate on that and continue to improve the year over year in each generation. That's just a great example of Caterpillar investing in technology, investing in R&D to help our customers be more successful.
Yes,
and all those types of things, and it's a great example of that.
Yep.
The other thing that caught my eye, and is, you know me, I'm the technology nerd that we've got here, is you refer to me as Space Force, which is always entertaining. So thank you, Brennan. The thing, that roller, right? So they did the technology demo with that roller, and they had that fully autonomous roller rolling in the center of the grounds there, right? And started off, and what a great way they started that technology show that way. And I think that's just another good way where we're constantly innovating. And Caterpillar, one thing I really appreciate, there's a lot of people out there working on the autonomy journeys and those types of things, but Caterpillar, when they layer autonomy into a machine, they're making sure all the safety things that have to happen, right? From a machine perspective, a site perspective, and everything else. So that way people are safe as they're working around those machines too, which is totally cool to see. But what were your thoughts on that roller and kind of that application?
It still trips me out when you see these demos or you see it live on a customer's quarry job site when there's no operator in the cab, right? It's because it brings me back to when I was a kid and I fell off a tractor and the tractor was just going in circles. It was like, oh man, someone go get that machine. But it's becoming more and more common. And you're right, the way the Cat's going about this autonomy piece, and removing the operator potentially from the cab and then taking that one step further to full autonomous operation is that there's a lot of applications where this makes sense. It's a safety issue. You're short on labor. You can't find operators, or you've just got this super repetitive task. Like they had that roller, just rolling this pad. Do you really need an operator to do that? Hey, go roll out this 100 by 100 yard pad and just roll it until it's met compaction. I could use my highly skilled labor somewhere else, digging, using a dozer for final trim. But yeah, the autonomy piece and the semi-autonomous and the remote control, there's a lot of people in the industry that can do this. But you look at what CAT's doing is they're fully integrated into the brains of that tractor, and we're able to use 3D dig control. We're starting to be able to integrate more and more features, not just remote control, but task automation, digging to a design file. I mean, you guys over at Worksite, you guys sell the 3D stuff, but that's what excites me because CAT's integrated in the system. All the safety lockouts, the smart cameras, all that stuff is integrated within that command ecosystem, I guess. But there was another piece that you may have missed. They had a D3, I believe, or a D4. But when they did one of the demos where they made the old school Block C, that tractor was snapped to that line of that the outer ring of that C, and it didn't have an operator in the cab. And they were just tracking along nice and slow, doing the rough cut on that before they did their full machine demo, and that was really cool to see.
Yeah, and that's a good application of, and CAT calls it steer assist,
Yep.
where you can take in nerd world or grade world, you basically build a DXF or a surface that has that line, and then in the grade display, you just basically say, hey, dozer, work on this line, and then remote control, he was able in that non-line of sight operator station, basically, hey, run to this line and then drive around in a perfect circle. It was totally a cool thing to see the steer assist, the grade control, and CAT command all come together in one nice little package right there.
It was.
In the middle of the festival grounds.
It was cool to see. The other piece that I wanted to talk about is you've seen, like over in Europe, this is not news, but over in the stateside, the introduction or the growth of tilt rotator systems, right? And CAT had a machine fully set up, actually had a variable angle boom as well, but the tilt rotators, we're going to continue to see that growing. There's just so much capability within those machines to be able to spin the bucket every direction, put a grapple. Then you have the ability to run hydraulics through that coupler so you don't have to disconnect and connect attachments. And of course, here at Western States, we utilize CAT for our TRS systems. But just to have that full integration with that machine, to have the functionality and all the different attachments that go with it, and then not have to get out of the cab to switch from a grapple over to a hammer or to switch over to a rotary broom or something. There's so much that you can do with those. We're really starting to see those come online, and to be frank, we're bringing in more machines with those. We're seeing that tilt rotator adoption grow, and so now on certain machines, every third machine we order, we're ordering it to set up with a tilt rotator. So if anybody hasn't experienced that or wants to test it out or has an application they think will be beneficial, certainly reach out because they're sweet.
Yeah, and I think too, it's just another great evolution of like just technology, not just like the normal technology we think of, but the innovation that's happening within the construction industry and turning that excavator into a Swiss Army knife, right? I mean, when you can run a certain bucket on it, and then you can run a grade beam on top of that, and all these other attachments from never getting out of it. The versatility of that one machine goes up 10x.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, it makes the machine quite a bit more expensive, but now you've got one machine that can do 10 different things on a job site instead of having 3 machines that can do the same 10 things. It's a game changer.
It is. And additionally too, again, back to Caterpillar true fashion, they make sure everything works together, right? So if you add the TRS to a machine, you can still use all the ease of use features that come on that machine, right? The 2D, the e-fences, the 2D dig assist, all those other types of features as well, which is just, again, layers into that benefit of the versatility that has, and taking an operator and making them more skilled just much quicker throughout the process.
Yeah. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, maybe not as glamorous, but I'm certainly excited about it, was CAT's launch of the 253. So if anybody out there has ever owned a 259, they're going to feel very much at home within the 253. So Caterpillar Next Gen, they called it a new product introduction. Most of the compact track loader, the CTL line, the 259 was the first to be replaced by the 255. Then we're sitting here by its older brother, sister, the 265. Then we have the 275, the 285. But the 253 is kind of a flashback on the 259. They updated the engine. They brought in some next gen updates, but it's not the full blown technology piece. It doesn't come with. It's got a fixed undercarriage, so it's a little bit less. It's more of a fixed cost machine, right? We've stripped out a little bit of the technology, a little bit of the advancements to offer a go-to-market machine where people just don't need that. I think that'll be good for a market of folks that just need a CTL that goes out, moves dirt, moves snow, and then they park it for another 3 months. And that's going to bring a good machine for us to take to market.
Yeah, that's a great, and again, back to fitting a need and kind of finding that market where that opportunity is and Cat building out things to make that work. It's another great example.
Yeah, but I'm super excited for the next gen CTL line because the amount of technology that you can bring onto these tractors is amazing. The biggest example, the biggest seller we have is putting a 3D system on the GB124, which is a grader blade, using 3D. I mean, you can final trim a sidewalk, you could final trim a horse pin. It increases the flexibility of this multi-tool by a factor of 10. It's not just put a bucket on it and call it good. You can now do final pass grade with these machines.
Yeah, and one cool thing about the Western States region and what we do, and I think it's the partnership in our customers and technology, we do a great job at taking that GB124 and helping customers get value quickly out of it with 3D grade on it, right? Because they're cutting down their rework, they're saving costs and things all around, and things are more accurate from that standpoint.
What's the middle option version of that? There's the full blown, but then there's I forget the name of it.
So there is the ease of use features that still come on top of it on the smart attachment. So you can still do basic ease of use features even on the smart attachment from there. And then we could even go to lasers and just do a 2D basic laser setup on it before you get to the full blown 3D piece of it. The other really crazy thing about the GB124 is you can do UTS or Universal Total Station on it too, which then your accuracy really gets dialed in. And like a lot of times we're seeing guys go to UTS on a grader blade or a total station setup on a grader blade when they're doing like curb and gutter.
Okay.
Because there's less room for error on curb and gutter to get everything aligned. So they'll use that total station to really dial in that accuracy on a skid steer, which 5 years ago, we never thought we would have to use a motor grader.
Yeah, you wouldn't use a skid steer to do final trim.
No, and it's just cool evolution of the industry.
Compact track loader,
compact
not a skid steer.
Yep, compact track. We're messing that up, but it's just crazy to see that whole transition. So one other topic I wanted to dive into, and it's so Cat's been investing huge in VisionLink, right? That's a big platform piece of it, right? And I think there's a big kind of shift happening in the industry around telematics data and VisionLink and those types of things. So kind of from your perspective, from a machine perspective, what's your thoughts on VisionLink and what does it mean to the customers and our industry?
Yeah, so you and I, you've probably been around long enough, but I've been around long enough. I remember the first versions of VisionLink, and it was good, but it's way better. If you haven't been into VisionLink in the last 2-3 months, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it's going to become just a go-to asset app tool that our customers are going to use to help manage their fleets, whether they have one machine or 100 machines. You think about it in your personal life, you've got the Ford app, the Chevy app. There's just so much that's going to be flowing through VisionLink. You're going to be able to monitor your fault codes, your fleet, your fuel levels, productivity. Then you flip over into the e-commerce side, you're going to be able to get into and have access to your parts order, and you're going to be able to order parts. You're going to be able to check your status of your warranty. You're going to be able to look at oil samples, and it just continues to grow, and more functionality gets brought into VisionLink every week. It seems like Cat releases a new patch note with some new feature. And so if my advice and my recommendations, like, hey, if you haven't used VisionLink in the last 2-3 months, literally go in. There's new features that you're going to find to bring value to your business.
Yeah, and one of the coolest things, and again, back to new features, at CONEXPO, Cat was showcasing the new planner feature. In the new planner features, you can go in and you can build all your different job sites. So let's say you have 5 or 6 pieces of equipment and 5 or 6 different active job sites. You can go literally start to assign all your equipment to different job sites and build yourself a calendar of events to see if you have enough machines to get the work done within the timelines you're committed to.
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that because my older brother runs a dirt business back in Iowa, And something he's ran into before is he works for a couple days on a job, and then he takes off. And he goes to another job, then he takes off. And before he knows it, he forgot to log his time. Like, what did I have for costs on those job sites? He has a couple pieces that are not CAT, but his CAT equipment, he's able to dive in and look at, hey, from Monday to Thursday, I put 10 hours. I'm going to bill that customer 10 hours. And he's used it as a tool to fix his billing. But there's a lot of different ways you can use VisionLink. They've built a ton of functionality into it. And if you're not a power user and you don't want all that data, you can use CAT Central. It's kind of like the VisionLink Lite platform. You still get access to location and fault codes. It won't dive as deep, but then you still have the ability to order filters and light bulbs and just different things for your machine.
So when we kind of like zoom out and like look at all the things Caterpillar had going on at CONEXPO, it's kind of crazy to think about the new machine releases they had, the new technology releases that they were showcasing with the autonomous roller, right, and the CAT command stuff, the 319, the TUL, the 253, the VisionLink releases, right? Like that CAT ecosystem from machines to office to technology is becoming quite a thing these days.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you look at the connectivity piece of all of the assets, the CATs, there's so much data on these machines now. There's predictive analytics that could forecast and potentially avoid a turbo failing and running away an engine. And so we're using this data to make smart decisions, to make preventative repairs. And then you look at the operator side, we're able to see the torque converters getting overheated frequently while your operator's dragging the brake or throwing it in reverse too soon or something. We're able to use these tools ultimately to help our customers be more efficient, more profitable, and more productive. And that's why we have these tools, is ultimately to make them more successful.
Thanks, Brennan, for jumping on, bud. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.